Graham, there's a depth in your songs which some songs by modern composers don't seem to have. What's the reason for that?
I think actually there are probably a lot of songs that deal with justice and the poor issues, but perhaps they're not getting sung. Is it about lack of songs, or is it churches tend to sing a certain kind of song? In terms of the importance of that sort of theme, as I began to study the scriptures to do with what worship is all about, there is an awful lot in there to do with the way we treat other people. We think of worship as singing, but there are some pretty stinging passages from the Bible, like from the prophet Amos, where he speaks a message from God which says, I hate your songs. Stop this row, this racket, take away the noise of your songs. But let justice flow on like a river and righteousness like a never-failing stream. God's complaint was that his people were worshipping well enough in terms of the outward, the songs and the festivals and whatever, but their lives were contradicting what was coming out of their mouths, and that therefore became an offence to God. So things like that made me recognise how important it is that we seek to do right by our fellow human beings.
Now you've written this new song dedicated to the world's seafarers and the Sailor Society. What brought you to do that?
Well, I have to confess, I was pretty ignorant about that whole world of merchant seamen in particular, and I guess it's not unusual to be like that. I think, not a lot of people really know about that world unless you're a part of it. But it was hearing about the work of the Sailor Society and being given an insight into the lives of seafarers around the world. And it's a pretty tough life. And these guys can be away from home 10 or 11 months of the year, away from their families. The new sort of technologies which allow ships to turn around in a very short time in port, which keeps the costs of products down for us, the consumers, that actually means that the sailors barely get off the ship. Sometimes they don't even get off the ship. And there might be big ships, but it can be a very tiny world that they're trapped in, with very little ability even to communicate with their families. You can't just put out a mobile phone in the middle of the ocean and ring home. So the Sailor Society have the permissions to get onto the ships in ports and take on the phone cards and the SIM cards and take the sailors to the centre in the port and just help them and encourage them, and in all sorts of different ways seek to make their lives a little bit easier. And that's not just for Christian seamen, it's for anybody. And I think that's a very generous-hearted approach and way to try to ease some of their loneliness and the difficulty of their lives.
What would really be your prayer that would come from this hymn?
I'd love Christians in particular to become more aware of this whole world of need and to help support it, because there's a lot of chaplains who are supported through this work, and that takes a lot of fundraising and so on. It's a charity, it's a charitable operation, so I would hope that people would support it financially and also with their prayers, because we all benefit from this. Every time we go to the supermarket, we are enjoying, we might not think it's cheap, but it is cheap food, really. Cheap food on the back of these people who in many cases are suffering, just desperately trying to support their families way back home, sending them money but never seeing them.
Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus, shoreless, boundless, full and free. Empty cross and tomb, proclaiming God, my Father's love for me. And when storms of life are raging, home and loved ones far away, I will listen for the voice that calmed the waves on Galilee. Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus, vast, unmeasured, boundless, free, deeper than the deepest ocean, is my Savior's love for me. Through the long cold nights of waiting, or the weary work long day, one who made is my Savior's love for me. Though it seems at times it's sleeping while the towering waters rage, everlasting arms surround me, always, always. Friend of mine, yes, friend of sinners, teach me your befriending love. Like a current through me flowing from the Father's heart above. Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus, vast, unmeasured, boundless, free, deeper than the deepest ocean, is my Savior's love. Oh, the deep, deep love of Jesus, vast, unmeasured,